I never stated I wasn't against their relationship with the other couple. They call themselves swingers, but you could argue they have a polyamorous relationship. My concern is how they ram it down everyone's throats. I don't care what they do privately behind closed doors. However, when I see the PDA and other things they do to each other in public, I become uncomfortable with the situation. They keep a calendar on the fridge that lists the evenings they will swap beds and sleep with the other person. My mom, and the other woman alternate between my father and the other guy. There are also occasions when they make sexual jokes about screwing each other or randomly flash each other in our presence. At the very least, wait until no one is present before doing such things. That's the part I'm not comfortable with. Update 1. Hello everyone. A few weeks ago, I posted about my parents inviting their friends on a family vacation and promised to provide an update once I spoke with my parents. Well, I tried and it didn't go well. Also, I apologize for the delay in providing an update. I've been really battling with the outcome, and I needed time to get it all out. So on with the update. I expressed my feelings to my parents, and they were not pleased. They asked why I never brought it up, and I explained that I was good with everything until I saw it, at which point I became uneasy. They now believe that I do not accept them for who they are, and they see no problem in bringing their pals or doing other activities with them in front of everyone else. My mother basically replied that what they do is neither my concern nor anyone else's, and they may do whatever they want, which is correct. They are adults and have the right to do anything they choose, but some of their actions should be kept private and not visible to others. They also consider their girlfriend and boyfriend to be family again, which is okay. I know that many people do. And because it's a family vacation, they're still inviting them, no matter how everyone feels about it. I just want to be with my parents for a change, away from their pals and their constant squabbles. They also have no problem with their friends calling themselves grandparents to my niece. I became irritated and informed them that my husband and I would not be attending the vacation and that they could take someone else. And until people realize where I'm coming from, I won't go around. So, for the time being, my parents have been cut off. I'm quite disappointed with the decision, and it makes me sad that they would prioritize their friends over their own child. But each to their own, I suppose. Thank you everybody for your remarks. I read each one of them. Even if I didn't respond, I still read them. There were some very wonderful, supportive ones who were quite helpful, as well as some not so pleasant ones who were equally beneficial. So, thank you everyone. Comment 1. I am sorry about it. Did your siblings ever back you up? Oh, yes. My sister agrees with me. I'm not sure if she'll go or not. So, if she doesn't, we might take our own small vacation. Update 2. I cut my parents out of my life, and now my father could be dying. What to do? Hello everyone. I, 27F, have just come here seeking advice. Maybe. I truly don't know. I just needed a place to discuss this. There's a lot of backstory, so I'll attempt to explain as much as I can, and hopefully it won't be too confusing. I also wrote another piece about the subject a few years back, so this may be considered an update. My parents have an open polyamorous marriage. They began as swingers when I was 7, then a few years ago they met another couple and decided to simply be with them, which is okay. I'm glad they are happy. However, when the other couple, whom we'll call DNT, entered my parents' lives, they transformed. They became toxic, controlling, and just unpleasant to be around. They don't consider anyone's feelings and force their other partners into our lives, and I've determined over the last few years that I don't want to be around DNT. They were all improper in front of my sister, her family, my husband, and me on several occasions, which made us all very uncomfortable in a variety of ways. My parents evicted my sister and her family from their basement apartment and relocated them to a small bedroom upstairs in order to accommodate their other partners. My niece was also only 2 months old at the time. From there, things have only gotten worse. Don't refer to themselves as my second parents or grandparents to my son and niece, as I've begged them not to because I barely know them. My parents have frequently chosen other partners over my sister and her family, as well as myself and my family. My sister had to move unexpectedly last year, and she asked my mother if she could watch my niece because it was snowing outside. My mother said no because they were going to spend the night playing Mario Kart and didn't want any interruptions. When I told my father I was expecting, The first thing he said was, "Can we tell D&T?" I said no. After my baby was born, I went to my parents' place for a quick 30-minute visit, and as soon as I arrived, my father texted D to let her know I was there. So she and T went upstairs. My mother was holding my kid at the time, and when D&T arrived, she handed him over without asking. I was very upset. To clarify, I would have been offended if someone had simply delivered my infant to someone without first asking me. I was not unhappy solely because of the person. You should never hold a baby without the permission of the parent. My religious ceremony was quite modest, similar to a christening, and we only invited family and close friends. I invited my parents, who requested if they could bring D&T. I declined because it was for relatives and close friends, so they chose not to attend. They chose not to attend a family function because I did not want their other partners, whom they consider family, to be present, despite the fact that I have repeatedly told them this during the years they have been with D&T. Because this was for my son, I decided there would be no more stunts. They weren't going to prioritize themselves over me and my family anymore, so I cut them out. I told them that I was glad they were happy, and because I knew they loved them, I was not going to force them to choose between us. I told them I wasn't done being harmed, and that I needed time apart from them. I have not seen or spoken with my parents since April of 2024. I've tried informing my parents about my boundaries several times, but they don't listen, and they only want us to be one big happy family, which my sister and I, as well as our partners, do not desire. We both just want to be with our parents. Anyway, I received a text from my mother yesterday informing me that my father has been diagnosed with heart failure and I am overwhelmed with grief. I'm angry and sad. My heart hurts. I do not know what to do. Part of me wants to have a better relationship with my parents as long as my limits are respected. But another part of me has never felt happier or more at ease in the last 9 months. I really don't want my father to die and then regret not having a relationship with me or my son. I really hate being harmed by my parents all the time. I'm in therapy and have been working through everything for a long time, but it's still very difficult. Any input is appreciated, and I will try to address any questions you may have. Thank you for reading this, and I apologize if it was confusing. Edit. I'd like to point out that my parents have been involved with other couples I've admired. It wasn't until D&T that I had a problem, and it was their acts that drove me away. I'm glad my parents are happy, but I shouldn't have to put myself in an uncomfortable situation just to make others happy. So I decided to keep my distance in order to improve my mental health. Comment 1. This is something you must decide. They are simply reaching out because of his situation, not because they want to be better parents. They have already chosen D&T over your son. Your son does not need to view them. You can go alone to see what's going on. They want you to feel guilty and forgive them. They have not attempted to apologize. Oop. That is how I feel. I feel as if they are pressing me to see them when I am not prepared. My mom texted me a few months ago asking, "How long are you going to stay away from us? Are we still toxic?" And I feel like they're blaming me for not seeing them, despite the fact that I've repeatedly spoken my boundaries and they choose to ignore them. I know it's not my fault, but they're making me feel like it is because I want to protect myself and my son from harm. OOP provides examples of how they were inappropriate throughout the years. Examples of inappropriate behavior include them flashing each other in front of us, my father pulling down his pants and mooning the front door when I walked in because he thought I was his girlfriend, and other inappropriate actions that should not be performed in front of others, particularly your children and their spouses. Part 1. OOP for polyamorous parents and boundaries. He would place his hand on my back and I would plead not to be touched. I get quite uncomfortable because of an essay from my childhood, so I dislike being touched by numerous people. But he did that every time I saw them. I have attempted numerous times to express my boundaries, but they have not been honored. If these inappropriate acts stopped, I would not mind seeing them with my parents, but I shouldn't have to if it makes me uncomfortable. The boundaries I have expressed. I don't want them to consider themselves my child's second parents or grandparents. I do not want to see all of their obscene PDA. I am fine with a kiss, but the inappropriate behavior can wait until people are not there. My parents do not consider any of my pals to be family, and neither do I. Comment 2. You will never have the relationship you want with your parents because they are clearly selfish and will always involve their spouses.